Good evening. Welcome to Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present. Our top stories in the news: NYUMBA YANGA market in water and electricity crisis. Government offers farmers 300 kwacha for a 50-kilogram bag of soya beans. Opposition members of parliament demand bank deposits of the alleged missing 65 million kwacha. In international news, African leaders on peace mission arrive in KYIV, Ukraine's capital. And in sports news, Mutendere off-season soccer tournament receives 240,000 kwacha sponsorship.
The FAR's 2022-2023 season is over, and the 2023-2024 season is around the corner. Camnet Stars Football Club, popularly known as the local national team, is looking for young talented football players from across Zambia, aged between 16 and 23 years old. Camnet soccer trials will be held on the 30th of June and the 1st of July 2023 in Lusaka at 09 hours. The venue is Kabulonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Your skills could earn you a place in the world of soccer greats in Zambia and the world. Camnet Stars Football Club, the local national team, is a team born for greatness with visionary players. Let us join hands and contribute to high levels of Zambian football standards. Don't miss these trials. The future of Zambian soccer is dependent on you. Make a date with us. Remember, you are born for greatness. See you there.
Hello again. The news in detail. Marketeers at Lusaka's NYUMBA YANGA market have called on government to resolve the electricity and water challenges that the market is grappling with. Some of the marketeers spoken to have told Camnet News that their businesses have gravely been affected by the lack of water and electricity at their trading place. They have explained that when electricity is available, it only lasts for 30 minutes, leaving them without electricity the whole day. Meanwhile, ZESCO Senior Corporate Affairs Manager Karisto Chitamfia says the power utility company will follow up on the matter. More in the following report.
Small and medium enterprises in Zambia are widely considered to be a source of growth and employment creation, representing 97% of all businesses in the country and 70% of the gross domestic product, among other important contributions. Tools down, as the drive of their business is not available. These are marketeers at Lusaka's NYUMBA YANGA market who are calling for government intervention in addressing the non-availability of electricity at the market. They explain that most of their businesses have been affected due to the non-availability of electricity at the market. Judith, a tailor, and Potfa, a barberman, are stranded on how to keep their business going.
On the issue of power at this market, it's been really challenging, especially for me as a tailor. There are times when I have a lot of workload and you find that power only, we only buy power, maybe it stays for 30 minutes and my business has been affected very badly.
Other marketeers also explained that the constant cutting of power supply has led to the market not having water, especially in the ablution blocks.
Manani kane chikulima take away once budget involves my light once the beneficence of my light then in market ikulu maningi no mwaona then market ipeze kati ulibe manzi kuma toilets ndram amene basonga kwanza che kutapisa che 2 drums ya manangane ya light 2 drums ya manzi amene yafuti ndi amene bali bazinga kuma toilet ikafika 16 hours bakakomboka ino market ipeze kati basala bakoma market kulibe ma toilets bantu the result bambo pesa bambo 20 chabe kuliko bambutundira chabe kuli konse na challenge konse or if you take around mwanda mazunguluka muzaona pamene vichiti kapano or even na market yapya pa daily na isoi kulibe manzi kamene yazacho
57 and it's not making sense. You find that you're working for less than 30 minutes, power is cut. Which after 30 minutes, more double my light here and I'm for about 3 hours to 5 hours, my light no show.
Meanwhile, ZESCO Senior Corporate Affairs Manager Karisto Chitamfia says ZESCO will address the issue and could not provide official information pertaining to the situation. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Food Reserve Agency, FRA, has rescinded its decision not to buy soybeans for the 2023 crop marketing season as earlier announced. FRA Board Chairperson Kelvin Hambwezia on the 17th of May 2023 announced that government will not be buying any soybeans because the agency had enough in reserves. And speaking during the launch of the 2023 crop marketing season in Katete district of Eastern Province on Friday, FRA Board Chairperson Kelvin Hambwezia says the board will now be buying a kilogram of soybeans at 6 kwacha and a 50-kilogram bag at 300 kwacha. Meanwhile, Minister of Agriculture Ruben Mtolopiri says the decision by the FRA to rescind its decision is a demonstration of a listening government which has heard the cries from the farmers and different sectors. More in this report.
Outcry from farmers and other stakeholders in the agriculture sector has been ongoing in the country following the pronouncement from the Food Reserve Agency FRA on 17th May 2023 that it will not be buying soybeans in the 2023 crop marketing season as it was sitting on over 100,000 metric tons, which it was struggling to find market for. FRA Chairperson Kelvin Hambwezia announced that the agency has rescinded this decision and will keep farmers in their best interest. Mr. Hambwezia was speaking in Katete district of Eastern Province during the official launch of the 2023 crop marketing season.
We are going to go in at the prevailing market prices. Once we put our house in order, we are busy mobilizing resources, funds and so on, and we're making progress, Honorable, you know that. We'll buy soybeans at the prevailing market price, and the prevailing price, Honourable Minister, you'll be happy to know that it is about 6 kwacha per kilogram.
Minister of Agriculture Ruben Piri also spoke on the same, while warning smugglers of consequences.
Food Reserve Agency is going to buy soybeans, 100,000 metric tons of soybeans at 6 kwacha per kg, which reflects at 300 kwacha per 50 kg, or indeed 6,000 kwacha per metric ton. Do not engage in unregulated exports. Do not engage in smuggling, because 3 things will happen if you are caught. 1, you will lose your product. 2, you will lose your vessel. This
is a move that has elated stakeholders, including chiefs, who have been calling on the agency to rescind this decision.
This fertilizer that you start receiving as early as June, please, let's look after our fertilizer. Let's keep it in good, safe places, that should that time come, we have enough fertilizer. We shouldn't sell the fertilizer that will be given.
In this country, anybody can set up a milling plant without any storage capacity. That can even take them up to a month or 2, because they know there is FRA. So I think the members of the Millers of Zambia, amongst yourselves, I think you can bring this requirement.
Yachimanga, mitengo ya binzi, mitengo ya sina zose zamene tilima kumunzi tamba mitengo. Wata kale kuti azivomela mitengo ya ingono nzake romba.
Zipora Mshala, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Community-based rehabilitation, a non-governmental organization, has called on parents with children living with a disability not to hide their children but ensure that their rights are protected. Organization focal point person Soneni Musendeka raised concern that most children with disabilities do not enjoy their full rights as their parents allegedly lock them up. Ms. Musendeka was speaking when the organization held a play time for both children with and without disability at Cosmopolitan Mall in Lusaka Friday in celebration of the International African Child Day. And one of the children, Esther Chipapi, expressed happiness that the organization was able to blend the children regardless of the physical condition. More in the following report.
First initiated by the Organization of African Unity in 1991, the International Day of an African Child aims at raising awareness for the situation of children in Africa and the need for continuing improvement in education. This day encourages people's spirit of abundance to share something special with a child in Africa, in the spirit of realizing the objectives of this day and achieving inclusivity in the rights of children. A non-governmental organization, Community-Based Rehabilitation, has called on parents of children with disability to ensure their rights are protected and promoted. Organization Focal Point Person Sonen Msendeka says most parents of children with disability tend to lock them up, a situation deprives them of their rights.
Let's commemorate that day where children just come together to have some fun, to play and interact. The Day of the African Child Day is under the theme Rights of Children and Rights of a Child in a Digital Environment. Then with that theme, you know, every child has rights, whether those without disabilities and those with disabilities. And now that the world is becoming digital, we just want where even those children with disabilities are included, and then they're not included, they're not excluded in as much as the world is becoming.
Esther Chipapi from Garden House and a parent, Silva Mobita, cannot hide their joy.
I'm going to talk about how we are happy here. We always been happy when we are together, not always someone is upset. No, we are supposed to be ones again. Yeah.
KWACHA bonse ma parents bamene babwera pano balina bana bosiyanasiyana mu kudwala ni ma disabilities bamene bana banetabwera nawo kuno tionga zikomo kuli bazekrebu panchito yamene bagwira because kumbuyo uku tinalibe wotitandizira even support ku bana batu but pantau zino tionga zikomo chifukwa chakuti bazekrebu babwera kufupi na ise kutitandizira kuti nabeve bana batu bazisoberako.
Meanwhile, the Community Development Assistant at Kanyama under the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services says the ministry prioritizes such efforts.
In the word Kanyama, specifically for the youth and the children, it has really helped the parents to come out, those with children living with disabilities, and it has included also those children who are not living with disabilities. It has helped us in the constituents, and it has really, really helped. We appeal to the parents that do have children with disabilities to come out in the open so that these children could be helped.
The day has been observed under the theme, The Rights of the Child in the Digital Environment. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News in Lusaka.
Children under the National Child Rights Forum have implored the government to continue acting on ideas that children share in order to improve their welfare. Speaking during the commemoration of the Day of the African Child, Rejoice Nyendwa says for children's rights to be heard, it requires that their insights and experiences are channeled into decision-making that impacts their daily lives in the digital age. Meanwhile, speaking at the same event, Matthew Nyembwe has urged government to tighten laws and legal processes that protect children who are victims of abuse. The 2023 Day of the African Child is being commemorated under the theme, The Rights of a Child in Digital Environment.
We would like to urge and ask the government to address the following issues that we have noted as children. Number one, decision makers, civil society, and service providers must uphold their duty to protect children's rights, including safety in the digital environment. Two, as children must be protected from harmful content that are age-inappropriate material, contacts that are dangerous contact with adults, conduct, verbal aggressions online, and contracts that are using data for children, commercial extortion.
We appreciate that there is free education policy and our parents do not pay school fees. However, there are a number of schools across the country that need their classrooms better equipped. And other parts of the country also need more schools and children in those areas. More schools that children in those areas do not walk long distances to access their right to education.
Leader of the opposition in Parliament, Brian Mundubile, has alleged that the Minister of Finance, Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane, has distanced himself from clarifying the alleged misuse of the 65 million kwacha because he does not want to dent his image. Addressing the press in Lusaka Friday, Mr. Mundubile says Dr. Msokotwane only decided to take leave at a time he was called upon to make a presentation before the floor of the House on how the 65 million kwacha was handled simply because he has no answers to it. He says members of Parliament are not satisfied with the documentation presented by the acting Finance Minister Charles Milopi on how the money was spent because the documentation had no receipt to indicate when the money was deposited into the alleged account at Zanaco Bank. Meanwhile, Lopososhi Member of Parliament George Chisanga has accused the Kawambwa Magistrate Court of being unjust in the manner in which it is handling the case of the Kawambwa Member of Parliament Nixon Chilangwa. More in this report.
Opposition members of Parliament have hinted that they are not satisfied with the evidence that was presented by the acting Minister of Finance and National Planning, Charles Milopi, before the floor of the House earlier this week on how the alleged missing 65 million kwacha was appropriated. The 65 million kwacha in question was seized from a businesswoman, Faith Msonda, in 2021 after it was alleged that the said money was stolen while the Patriotic Front was in office. Debates have however risen after reports suggesting that the money was never deposited in Control 99, which prompted the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Moti, to direct the Finance Minister, Msokotwane, to present a statement before the floor of the House with proof when the resources were deposited. Leader of the opposition in Parliament, Brian Mundubile, has however accused the Finance Minister, Dr. Msokotwane, of failing to show up before Parliament simply because he does not want to dent his image.
Nobody has explained as to why the Auditor General was unable to see the 65 billion in that account. And that's what the problem is. So that deposit slip is not there as far as I'm concerned. Honorable Msokotwane took leave conveniently because he wanted to preserve his integrity. Comrade Msokotwane, we honor him, he's a gentleman with impeccable repute. And to be forced to come and defend a position like that, he said, no, let me take leave. Let somebody else do it. So we all know the embarrassment that Comrade Msokotwane saved himself from. Could you imagine that the finance minister now, negotiating debt restructuring, negotiating with the IMF, he would have been caught up in this 65 million web. He simply removed himself from there. He said, look, I've got a much bigger assignment to try and save Zambia, restructure Zambia's debt, and save many lives from dying out of shortage of drugs. Comrade Msokotwane, on that point alone, I wish to salute you. You're a gentleman, you did the right thing. You left it up to others who could take such careless risks to come and destroy their reputations on the floor of the House.
Shuangando, Member of Parliament, Stephen Kampyongo, says government could have avoided losing huge sums of money in compensating the men and women in uniform who were wrongly dismissed on pretext that they were PF supporters.
All of you have seen that cause and judgment. It's now cause for government to reinstate those police officers on the payroll and pay them their arrears with interest. So government is now made to pay, to start paying interest which they shouldn't have been paying. It's a waste of resources. Dr. Peter Machungwa, you yourself have decided to be relegated from former Minister of Home Affairs to go and be chairman of a police service commission. If it was me, I would retire and go sit in Shwangando in the first place. 2, you should not politicize that institution.
And Lopososhi, Member of Parliament George Chisanga, has accused the Kawambwa Magistrate Court of injustices in the manner in which it is handling the case involving Kawambwa Member of Parliament Nixon Chilangwa.
On the material day when he was supposed to be in Kawambwa, he also was supposed to appear in a matter where he is charged of contempt of court, which are criminal proceedings in the High Court. If you know the country, when you are supposed to appear before 2 courts on the same day, you are at liberty to choose to go to the senior court and notify the junior court that I can't come to your court because I'm before the senior court. And that's what Honorable Chilangwa had done. Because he was in Lusaka appearing before Honorable Katanekwa, He then communicated to KWACHA that he's not able to go to that court because there's a conflict. Unfortunately, the magistrate was unyielding. Now, this is the magistrate against whom a complaint was pending.
Pudesh Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Government has dispelled assertions being reported on some social media platforms that the Vice President Mutalena Lumango has proceeded on indefinite leave. Minister of Home Affairs Jack Mwimbu says, as opposed to the assertions, the Vice President has assumed the responsibility of acting President of Zambia following the absence of President Hakainde Hichilema. Mr. Mwimbu says President Hichilema has joined other African heads of states who have traveled to Russia and Ukraine to see how best they can help end war between the two countries. He says the law does not allow Mrs. Nalumango to attend Parliament when she is acting as President of Zambia.
Madam Speaker, you may have noted that there have been malicious reports in the social media indicating that Her Honor, the Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, has gone on indefinite leave and that she's not working. Madam Speaker, the correct position is that Her Honor, the Vice President, is the current acting President of the Republic of Zambia. That is why she's not in the House to continue her usual duties as leader of government business. This has emanated from the decision of the world leaders that President Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, be amongst the 6 eminent presidents on the African continent to broker a peace process between Russia and Ukraine.
The Lusaka High Court has declined the bail application filed by former State House Special Assistant to the President for Politics, Zumani Zimba, and others. Mr. Zimba, along with Given Piri, Marlon Banda, Potiphar Gwai, had filed for bail in the High Court pending trial. The quartet have been arrested by the police and charged with terrorism in the gassing allegations. In an interview, accused lawyers Jonas Zimba says they will appeal the court's decision. More in this report.
Former State House Special Assistant to the President for Politics, Zumani Zimba, will continue spending his night behind a correctional facility alongside his co-accused, following the decision by the Lusaka High Court to decline his application. The Lusaka High Court has refused to grant bail to Mr. Zimba and his co-accused on ground that the Anti-Terrorism Act, Section 69, has a retrospective effect and therefore cannot be admitted to bail. However, the lawyer says they will appeal the court's ruling. Zumani Zimba, along with Melon Banda, Potiphar Gwai, and Given Piri, had applied for bail before the Lusaka High Court pending trial. The four have been arrested by the police and charged with terrorism. The case of Dr. Zimba, who faces charges related to possession of articles for terrorism, has raised concern about the delayed court appearance and extended incarceration without bail. In their earlier submission before court, the four had argued that they are eligible for bail, stating that the offense allegedly occurred in 2020, while the amendment to the Act, Terrorism and Non-Proliferation Act, which introduced non-bailable charges, only took place in 2023. According to them, retroactively applying the 2023 amendment to offences committed prior to its enactment would require explicit authorization by law. Recently filed document in the High Court had reviewed shocking allegations made by Given Piri, one of their co-accused, who claimed that he and others were subjected to physical abuse and torture by the police, who allegedly forced them to implicate former President Edgar Lungu and Mr. Zimba in the case. In his affidavit before court, Piri had claimed that officers informed him about the substantial finding behind investigations and their interest in implicating the former head of state in the gassing allegations. In early 2020, the country was rocked with chemical gassing incidents of homes and schools, which left many dead and some injured. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
An investigations officer from the Anti-Corruption Commission, SEC, has told the Lusaka Magistrate Court that two companies that Patriotic Front cadre Francis Muchemwa holds the majority shares in received approximately 1.8 million kwacha. The funds were received from the Ministry of Health and DMMU to supply masks and hand sanitizers between January 2020 and December 2021. Claudia Chivility has told the Chief Resident Magistrate that the company won a bid to supply COVID-19 material and rice distribution across the country. Ms. Chivility, however, told the court that her establishment reviewed that there was no legitimate business that could fund the supply of goods and service to the said institution, as the only explanation is that the funds came from the illegal revenue collection from Intercity Bus Terminal by Mr. Muchemwa. This is in a matter in which Mr. Muchemwa, a businessman, is charged with 8 counts of possession of property worth 12 million kwacha deemed to be proceeds of crime and tax evasion. More in this report.
The Lusaka's Magistrate Court has heard how a number of companies whose shareholders were aligned to the Patriotic Front supplied COVID-19 materials to government under less competitive bidding during the previous administration. Among these companies that supplied various materials to the Ministry of Health and Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit (DMMU) was Freotech Network Zambia Limited and Attitude Properties Zambia Limited, whose majority shareholder is Francis Muchemwa, a Patriotic Front member who is also known as Commander 2. The said companies that Mr. Muchemwa holds majority shareholders received a total of 1.88 million kwacha between January 2020 and December 2021 from the Ministry of Health and DMMU, among other institutions, to supply various goods and services. Freetech Network Limited Company supplied COVID-19 materials to the Ministry of Health, which included masks and hand sanitizer. Anti-Corruption Commission Investigations Officer Claudia Chibiliti says during investigations, she established that there was no legitimate business that would fund the supply of goods and services to the government, as the only explanation is that Muchemwa allegedly used the revenue he illegally collected from the Intercity Bus Terminal. According to the witness, her investigations further established that Freetech Network Zambia Limited had a nominal capital of 10,000 kwacha and Attitude Property had a 15,000 kwacha nominal capital at incorporation. This is in a matter in which Mr. Muchemwa is jointly charged with 2 others in relation to money laundering charges, among others. Allegations in some of the count, it is alleged that Mr. Muchemwa between January 1st, 2020 and August 31st, 2021 in Lusaka dishonestly obtained pecuniary advantage in the sum of 141,400 kwacha in form of subsistence allowance from Zesco Limited on the pretext that he undertook official trips when in fact not. The investigations officer also tendered in evidence 2 trucks that belongs to the said company where the accused holds the majority shares. The witness has further reviewed how the accused purchased properties in Silverest area and concealed them under the names of the company. The case has been adjourned to the 10th of January and 17th for a scene visit of the property and continuation of trial. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
We'll take a break. Join us for more news after the break.
Our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only many healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, Chumi.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
The FARS 2022-2023 season is over, and the 2023-2024 season is around the corner. Camnet Stars Football Club, known as the local national team, is looking for young talented football players from across Zambia, aged between 10 and 23 years old. Camnet soccer trials will be held on the 30th of June and the 1st of July 2023 in Lusaka at 09 hours. The venue is Kabulonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Your skills could earn you a place in the world of soccer greats in Zambia and the world. Camnet Stars Football Club, the local national team, is a team born for greatness with visionary players. Let us join hands and contribute to high levels of Zambian football standards. Don't miss these trials. The future of Zambian soccer is dependent on you. Make a date with us. Remember, you are born for greatness. See you there.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo says the country has lost 2 patients from COVID-19 in the past week. The minister says the 2 deceased, 1 male and 1 female, were all aged above 80 years and were admitted at different health facilities. The minister says the country has seen an increase in the number of COVID-19 cases in the past 2 weeks and says government is on high alert to monitor the situation. She, however, says the country may not be in the position to contain the virus if the situation escalates to alarming levels, and says it is the responsibility of all citizens to take precaution and adhere to the COVID-19 guidelines.
Government is always ready for any pandemic that would break out, but it is important for the public to know that this readiness is never sufficient. So to that effect, it is important that individuals begin to take responsibility of their own health, Madam Speaker, because prevention is always better than cure. Medical bills are very expensive worldwide, and to expect that if there's going to be a pandemic, this government will be 100% would be misleading each other. So my humble advice to my colleagues in this House, and indeed to the public, is please, please, let us take precaution. If you can wear a mask, wear a mask. Always wash your hands. And just keep away from bad crowds. If you are jumping on a minibus which windows are closed, Really, isn't it even better for you to get even your chitenge and just close your nose?
Lumezi Town Council in Eastern Province says it is targeting to implement key projects under the 2023 Constituency Development Fund CDF, which includes the electrification of public facilities, construction of maternity annexes, and the procurement of school desks, among others. In an interview, Lumezi Town Council Public Relations Officer Irvin Muyumbwa says 14 community projects have so far been approved at a cost of over 15 million kwacha. Mr. Muyumbwa adds that the council is yet to call for bids from contractors and suppliers to participate in the tenders for delivery of the projects.
The Lumezi Town Council will soon commence works on 14 community projects under the 2023 Constituency Development Fund CDF allocation. The local authority was allocated in the 2023 national budget a total of 28.3 million kwacha of the Constituency Development Fund, and this is an increase from last year's allocation of 25.7 million kwacha. So as a local authority, we have identified the 14 community projects to be undertaken throughout the year 2023. And among these projects, we are going to install electricity to public institutions, and we're going to work closely with the Rural Electrification Authority, and we expect to spend 1 million kwacha under this particular project. Further, we are going to install a water reticulation system at Lumezi Sub-Center at a total cost of 2 million kwacha, and we expect to work with the Eastern Water and Sanitation Company. Further, we are going to spend 1 million kwacha on the construction of the Chief's Palace, that is for Chieftainess Mwase Pangwe here in Lumezi, and we are going to spend 1 million kwacha on this particular project, working with the Zambia Correctional Service. And among other projects that we are also going to undertake as a local authority, we are going to procure a brand new TLB all-rounder machine. We are also going to construct maternity annexes at Katube Health Post, Skatengo Health Post, and also Chanyalubwe Health Post here in Lumezi. And you may remember that last year we did procure a brand new grader. So using this particular grader, we have also allocated some resources for grading of roads as well as creation of feeder roads in the district in order to open up connectivity in the district.
The Ministry of Finance and National Planning has reported that it released a total of 14.9 billion kwacha in May 2023 for the implementation of the national budget. Secretary to the Treasury Felix Nkulukusa says of the amount, 688.2 million kwacha went towards implementation of various developmental programs and general operations, while 314.9 million kwacha went for road infrastructure. Mr. Nkulukusa says 8.2 billion kwacha was for debt service, while 3.7 billion kwacha went to the public service wage bill, while 1.9 billion kwacha went to transfers, subsidies, and social benefits. The Secretary to the Treasury also says in the same month, government released 688.2 million kwacha to facilitate effective public service delivery under various public institutions. And commenting on the May 2023 budget releases report, Finance and National Planning Minister Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane has noted that some areas of the country are lagging in the absorption of Constituency Development Fund CDF, thereby leading to delays in the empowerment of citizens and interruptions in the implementation of the constituency level development programs. Government has spent over 1.6 million kwacha on the Constituency Development Fund CDF to construct a 1x3 classroom block at Sopelo ZNS Primary School and an ablution block and electrical water scheme at Lusaka West School in Chilanga District. Mundenga Ward Councillor Jabulani Mutema has praised government for increasing the CDF, saying the wards in the district and across the country are now receiving fair share in terms of development. Details in the following report.
Works for the construction of the 1x3 classroom block at Sopelo ZNS Primary School in Mondengwa Ward and an ablution block and electrical scheme at Lusaka West School in NYUMBA Ward of Chilanga District are progressing well. The scope of works has reached 43% for the classroom block, and 50% for the ablution block and electrical water scheme. This was revealed during the monitoring of Constituency Development Fund CDF projects by Chilanga Member of Parliament, Sipo Lazo, and staff from Chilanga Town Council.
We are doing a 1x3 classroom block, which we started, I think, first week of April. And this project is expected to be completed by month end of July, if I'm not mistaken. It is at a total sum of 746,266.
That comprises, it's twofold. It has the ablution block, which has both girls and boys, and it also has an electric water scheme, which has a 10,000 litre tank, which is supposed to supply the ablution block and the school itself. So far we can see from the workmanship of the contractor that the works are going on well, and we're happy with the works.
The infrastructure developments taking place in the district have impressed the local leadership.
So far, so good. We are happy as a CDF committee and as Member of Parliament on the progress of some of these projects that we are monitoring so far.
Thank the administration of President Hakainde Hichilema and the new DON for increasing the CDF. CDF has helped Mondengwa Ward in so many ways.
This is an ultra-modern ablution block that's been built under CDF. We are very grateful under the new dawn that we are seeing projects now kickstarting in schools.
The school authorities at both schools added their thoughts as well.
This structure will help the community around a lot in that the classroom accommodation that we have is very minimal. So with the coming of this project, it will alleviate the problem of over-congestion in classes. It will also help to give learning time, enough learning time to the learners.
But now the CDF fund is working wonders because, as you can see behind me, there is this almost completed building that will accommodate all the pupils that we have here.
The projects are aimed at enhancing access to education by learners. Nkweta Kapekele, Zanis, Chilanga.
This is Camnet Television News. We'll take our second and final break. We'll have international and sports news after the break.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Rainglow, your smart irrigation partner.
The FARS 2022-2023 season is over, and the 2023-2024 season is around the corner. Camnet Stars Football Club, popularly known as the local national team, is looking for young talented football players from across Zambia, aged between 16 and 23 years old. Camnet soccer trials will be held on the 30th of June and the 1st of July 2023 in Lusaka at 09 hours. The venue is Kabulonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Your skills could earn you a place in the world of soccer greats in Zambia and the world. Camnet Stars Football Club, the local national team, is a team born for greatness with visionary players. Let us join hands and contribute to high levels of Zambian football standards. Don't miss these trials. The future of Zambian soccer is dependent on you. Make a date with us. Remember, you are born for greatness. See you there.
Welcome back. In the international news, a delegation of African leaders and senior officials seeking ways to usher dialogue between the belligerents of the war in Ukraine and ultimately peace have arrived Friday in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. The delegation, including the presidents of South Africa, Senegal, Zambia and the Comoros Islands, first went to Bucha, a Kyiv suburb where bodies of civilians lay scattered in the streets last year after Russian troops abandoned a campaign to seize the capital and withdraw from the area. On Friday, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa was met by a Ukrainian special envoy and South Africa's ambassador at Nemyshev railway station in Kyiv. South Africa has since been under intense scrutiny due to the country's neutral stance on the conflict. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
A delegation of African leaders and senior officials seeking ways to end Russia's war has arrived in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. On Friday, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa was met by Ukrainian Special Envoy and South Africa's ambassador at Nyumba railway station in Kyiv. South Africa has been under intense scrutiny due to the country's neutral stance on the conflict. This follows allegations that arms and ammunition were shipped from the country to Russia, but the government has denied these allegations, and there are also eyes on whether Russian President Vladimir Putin will be coming to South Africa for the BRICS meeting in August, and whether an ICC warrant of arrest will be honored. The African delegation also includes senior officials from Zambia, Senegal, Uganda, Egypt, the Republic of Congo, and the Comoros Islands.
The end of subsidies on fuel in Nigeria is being felt beyond its borders. In neighboring Benin, a litre of Kapayo, the smuggled gasoline, sold on the side of roads, has doubled to reach €1. For decades, Nigeria's fuel has been transported illegally by road to its neighbors. The scale of the trafficking is such that the price of taxi fares has almost doubled in Cotonou. This increase in fuel prices has surprised us all. Normally, when a new president comes into power, the population should benefit from some benefits or favors before the difficult things begin. But the day that Nigerian President Bola Tinubu took power, the petrol immediately took value. We were taken aback. Today we have a lot of petrol stations, but when you go there, they'll tell you there's no petrol. And that doesn't help us. The state must assume its responsibilities so that we have fuel in the stations and avoid queues. With the litre of smuggled gasoline now higher than the petrol in stations, they've become crowded. In Nigeria, fuel prices have tripled, with food, transport and power prices feeling the knock-on effect.
The agony of a mother after a wedding party disaster. Aisha Idris, a resident of Ebu, survived, but watched helplessly as her 3 children drowned. Images, she says, she will take to her grave.
As the boat broke, I told my eldest daughter not to jump into the river. She panicked and the rest followed her.
Her 20-year-old daughter Fatima was just a month away from her own wedding. Ghana Idrisu lost nearly all his family, 11 people. He showed me around once a home full of life that suddenly became what he calls a ghost house.
I'm broken. I have lost the will to live. What's there to live for anyway?
Tired of waiting for government aid and eager to find closure, families and neighbors resort to self-help. They raise the ill-fated boat from the riverbed.
The teams had expected to find some bodies trapped in the wreckage, but when it was brought to the surface, none was recovered, dashing the hopes of many who wanted to give their loved ones a proper burial.
Some of the victims were buried on the bank of the River Niger. Ahmed Ishaku was a volunteer rescuer on Monday night.
I now put one boy inside my boat, this little bit boat that I'm using. So I now turn his head down. I press the stomach. I press it again. So the boy now vomit water too much. He now wake up like this and start crying, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." And I told him that he should please calm down.
In all, he says, he rescued, recovered, and helped to bury more than 30 victims. The tragedy has decimated the population of Ebu village. 61 people died here, almost 10% of the population. The village of Zakan lost 38 people in the disaster. Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ordered an investigation and aid to be sent. Boat sinkings are becoming a regular occurrence on the River Niger. Dozens died in similar incidents last year. Overloading and a lack of law enforcement are often blamed. And as the communities grieve, villagers fear they will never recover from their loss.
It's now time for sports news. BWIN, a sports betting and entertainment operator in partnership with Step Up Zambia, a community-based organization, have announced a 240,000 kwacha support to Mtendere off-season soccer tournament, which kicks off on the 18th of June 2023. BWIN country manager Gordon Ngando says he is thrilled that his company has entered into partnership with its efforts will directly impact the community in a positive way. And Mtendere Ward 34 Councillor Boniface Chiveka says the gesture will go a long way in transforming the lives of many youngsters who indulge in illicit activities. He has since appealed to BWIN to also consider adopting and transforming Mahatma Gandhi school grounds, as it is the only recreation facility that the area has. The tournament is expected to attract 32 teams from Munali constituency and will start from the group stage and progress through an elimination process to the final four, who will all receive a prize, with the top team also getting a borehole dug in their community.
That is how much sponsorship BWIN is giving this tournament this year.
From the grassroots is where sport is developed. And for us, it's not just about sponsorship, but what is most important for us is development of sport. So soccer being the sport that we will be sponsoring this season with Step Up Zambia, we've decided as BWIN to come on board and sponsor up to a sum of 240,000 kwacha. And this amount will go towards the prizes for the players. We've also decided, Councillor, to put up a borehole in the community. So the thing is, we want this.
When we are tapping talent, we start from our own homes, and our communities are our homes. So if we are able to cultivate the talent ourselves, be able to nurture it, it's easy for Football Association of Zambia through its scouts to be able to tap the talent from the communities and be able to give them a platform within the national setup, that is through the ranks of U20, U17, U19, we're now having U15 and all that. So I think I wish to commend BWIN for doing so and recognizing the fact that we really need to support football within our communities.
The amount of mention, definitely it cannot just be intended without being noticed economically. Those with businesses, they will notice that, no, Zangeda. Then we also have, somehow, there's also, behind it, there's also creation of employment. So, as the area councillor here, I'm very glad with what you have done. Just like I said, we won't let you go until you bless us. On behalf of people of Mtendere, and through God who created us all, I'm requesting, even if I'm sitting or speaking, my heart, my soul, and my everything is kneeling. I'm on my knees. That we are requesting that if you can build for us in Mtendere a change room for the players, as well as to do a facility for the ground, then we'll give you the ground as yours for everything, and you have just done a triumphant entry into Mtendere.
On that note, we come to the end of the news, but before we go, the top stories once again. YANGA market in water and electricity crisis. Government offers farmers 300 kwacha for a 50-kilogram bag of soybeans. Opposition members of parliament demand bank deposits of the alleged missing 65 million kwacha. International news: African leaders on peace mission arrive in Kyiv, Ukraine's capital. And in sports news, Mtendere off-season soccer tournament receives 240,000 kwacha sponsorship. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Luke, chapter 8, verse 17. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come aboard. Thank you so much for watching Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.